Hey y'all, what's up? It's me, Brianca, and I want to thank you for coming back to my little corner of the internet where we talk all things books, literature, analysis. It's so deep, it gets so fun. So if that's your jazz, then make sure you comment, like, and subscribe on this video so you can get more like it in the future. Also, be sure to check the description box because there's a ton of content there that I want to share with you guys. If you weren't aware, I am a writer. I have 2 children's books out. I also have my own ebook out. And of course, I would love your support on any of those. In addition to that, I have my own web design agency where I specifically work with small businesses to help them make a larger impact on the online community. So if you have a small business that you're launching or that is already launched and you just need some help with the kinks, the SEO, the web design, things of that nature, then I would love to talk to you and help you grow. Again, all of that stuff is down in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Now, today's video is really interesting because, guys, I dug in the archives for y'all to find y'all some heat. As y'all know, I've been reading Native Son, and I was like, I know in college I had to have read some Richard Wright, or I had a perspective on Richard Wright, and I wanted to find it to share with y'all. So what I actually found was a paper that not only discusses Wright, it discusses Baldwin, and it also discusses Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I was like, oh, this is heat right here. So I'm going to share with you guys. Of course, if it's a little longer, I'm going to break it up into 2 videos. So look out for if it says part 1 or part 2 on the title. That'll let you know. Moving right along. Let's get into this paper. Of course, it's my notes from college.
Okay, all right.
So I'm literally going to have to look at it from my phone. And I want to be able to look at it with as much ease as possible, guys. How do I do this? How can I put it in reader view? Okay, so it's the myriad perspectives of the African American male. It says the United States of America prides itself on freedom. They claim that in America, a man can be anything he wants. Once past the borders that make up this country, one had the freedom to speak out, to praise, to love, to dream. The freedom to live and to prosper. Americans have made songs about their liberty, erected statues of pride for it, fought wars and killed men for it. Yet, for many men, freedom, a birthright for any American-born person, has been denied. For these people, separated by the darkness of their skin, the texture of their hair, and the broadness of their noses, freedom never arrived. Freedom did not come on the 4th day of July in 1776. Freedom did not arrive in 1863 when Abraham Lincoln declared all men residing in the United States to be free men. Freedom did not reveal itself on the 19th day of June, and today, a summer in July of 2017, we still try and understand how one can overcome the oppression caused by the complexion of one's own skin, may eventually attain freedom. Through the memoirs and essays written by men who have been seen and treated as criminals by his own countrymen, one can attain a roadmap to survival in times of trial, similar to the way the ancestors of these men followed the Northern Star. James Baldwin, Richard Wright, and Ta-Nehisi Coates each have provided a text in which they reflect on the difficulties of being a black man in the United States and how they have overcome it. In doing so, readers are able to formulate a set of necessary tools in which can fight against the injustice that has followed them for far too long. James Baldwin was born in 1924. He is the son of a preacher, an African-American man who had migrated north in order to escape the menacing rule of Jim Crow. In 1955, Baldwin published his essay, Notes of Native Son, in which he discusses the plight of the black man in American society. Set in Harlem, the essay reflects on the tumultuous relationship Baldwin shared with his father. Baldwin explains how his father's fear and paranoia to people of other cultural backgrounds often made him appear unapproachable and angry. In his youth, Baldwin challenged his father's views of white people and attempted of white people. Frustrated by his father's bigotry, Baldwin constructed a scheme in order to erase the power his father held over the household. When approached by his white female teacher, who saw the potential in the young man to attend a play, Baldwin knows his parents will want to say no. But Baldwin invites the woman to come to his home and retrieve him for the evening anyway. Baldwin's father is subdued by this action. He has no choice but to allow Baldwin to go to the play, as he is rendered powerless by the presence of a white woman in his African American home. Baldwin's father is aware of the life-threatening danger this situation can elicit, but not yet aware of the racial limitations present in American society. Baldwin feels vindicated as he watches his father forced into compliance and feels as if he has finally overcome him. It is later, while working in New Jersey, that Baldwin realizes the cause of his father's fear and paranoia, and why a white woman's presence can disarm him within his own home. It is in New Jersey Baldwin began to encounter the injustices that his father had tried to escape by moving north. When visiting diners, Baldwin is often denied service. Stunned and frustrated by this treatment, Baldwin purposely invades all white establishments as a protest of the injustice. In a fit of blind rage, Baldwin visits another all-white establishment, which is offering a fine dining experience. After being denied service once again, Baldwin is overcome with anger and hurls a glass of water at the waitress. It is then that Baldwin realizes that the anger he exhibited in that moment is the same anger he had saw in his father growing up. Noting that he had inherited all his father, as all African Americans do, he inherited the anger, Baldwin is forced to run for his life as his friend misleads the forming mob in the wrong direction. From this event, Baldwin finally understands the nature of subdued subservience African Americans are forced to exhibit while facing a series of inhumane and unconstitutional practices throughout the history of the United States. Recounting his father's death, which occurred just before his mother gave birth to one of his sisters, his father's funeral held on his 19th birthday, and the Harlem Riot of 1943, Baldwin urges African Americans to release themselves from the anger African Americans have rightfully inherited and carry. Baldwin describes his dead father as an individual whose anger consumed him so entirely that he drove away every person he encountered. Baldwin cites the hypocrisy the country exercised as a source of that soul-consuming anger, but also notes that it is because of his anger that his father's body had begun to cripple and disease had been able to wreak havoc in his body, not stopping until he had become an unrecognizable ruin. The funeral takes place in the midst of the Harlem race riots. The streets are angry and uncontrollable as these individuals who feel isolated and invisible in their communities begin to destroy the businesses that reside there. The anger exhibited by those African American communities grip Baldwin in the way that makes him urge readers to note that although anger is understandable under the circumstances in which African Americans were subjected to, it is not the tool necessary to overcome these injustices. Hatred, Baldwin writes, which could destroy so much, never failed to destroy the man who hated, and this is the immutable law. Instead of exhibiting anger, he asks us to exercise love. This being the operating tool Baldwin believes will help to free people of the African American race. Guys, if you like that, stay tuned for part 2. We're going to discuss Richard Wright's perspective on how to survive as an African American man in America. So, yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned. I have another video coming up ASAP.